Hello everyone, welcome back to Genius Knowledge Point, your one place for practical programming solutions for computer and IT students. I am making this video to provide practical knowledge to all students so that you can develop your own programs which will be helpful for your studies as well as career. In this video we will perform practical number 20 of Python programming, and the topic in this video is creating class with method, creating objects of class, then accessing method using object. So this is the topic that is basically designed for case scheme of Diploma Computer and IT students and semester number 4. But anyone who wants to understand the concept of classes and objects can follow this video till end. You will understand the concept very clearly. So now moving toward the concept. So from this practical we are going to use object-oriented feature of Python programming. So what is object-oriented feature? For the object-oriented programming, in that programming what we do, we use classes and objects. So what is the class? Class is a user-defined structure. In that structure we can create our own functions, then we can create our own variables, and we can call those functions and variables using the objects of the class. For that purpose we have to create objects from the class. So why class is needed? Because we can develop or we can divide our main program or main practical or the main question into multiple modules. So those modules are called class, and using those classes the simplification will be very easy for regarding problems. So this is how the classes and objects feature are combined as a object-oriented programming. So we are going to use classes and objects here in this program. So moving toward the first practical related question, write a Python class to implement power. So POW is the power function, and in the bracket we are providing x comma n. So x is the number and n is the power to that number. So the answer of this function or the POW x comma n will be the number x will be having this power and the answer will be generated. So this is how we have to create our own class. In that class we have to use this function, or we have to create the function like this so that we can calculate power of any number using the function. So moving toward the code directly. So initially, as I have explained earlier, we have to create our class first. So the class definition will be followed by class keyword. So class space class name. So PowerCal is my class name. Then after that we have to specify colon. So we will move inside the class. So this is how the coding, this coding is inside the class now. So in that class we have to define one function to calculate power of any number. So as we have seen in earlier practicals that to define a function we have to use def keyword. So def space function name, that is power. So this is my function name followed by arguments or parameters. So in the round bracket I am specifying the parameters. So as we have seen in the question, we have to accept one number from the user and we have to accept power of that number from the user, and we will be calculating the power of that number inside our program. So for that purpose we need two parameters, that is num and p. But if you see, there is additional one parameter here, that is self. So this is the compulsory parameter that we have to always include inside class functions. So whenever we are defining any function inside any class, we have to specify self as parameter, and it is always the first parameter of our functions. So even if you are not specifying any inputs or you are not specifying any parameters inside your function, you have to include self always. So this is how our self will be always the first parameter. Second parameter is the num, that is the number accepted from the user, and that number will be accepted inside this function as an input. Then the third parameter is p, that means I am specifying the power number that a user has entered inside this function. So this is how the two values that we needed are presented as input inside this function bracket. So these are the parameters of this function. Then inside the function what I am doing, I am calculating, or I am taking one variable as result is equal to 1. So this result will be calculating the actual result of this number provided by this power. Next I am starting my for loop. So for I in range 1 comma p plus 1. So the values of this range will be taken as, the initial value will be 1 and the ending point will be p, because p plus 1 value will not be taken. So p is the ending point and 1 is the starting point, and these values will be taken into this I variable one by one while iterating inside this loop. Then in that loop, what I am doing, I am calculating result is equal to result into num. So I am calculating the multiplication of result into num. So initially in the first iteration, what it will do, it will calculate 1 into num. So the original number will be copied into this result. Then in the second iteration, it will be calculated a result, that is number into number. So again it will be presented as a new result. Again that will be used in the third iteration. So similarly, the number of times we have provided power, that times the number will be multiplied with its original value. So this is how the number will be multiplied many times and actual power will be calculated inside this result variable. So finally I am using return statement to return the result value. So the result value will be sent outside this function and that will be taken by the program statements. So this is how first the function is complete here, and finally class is also completed. Now I have shifted the code to the main program. So in the main program, as I have said earlier, that we have to create object of this class always. Then only we can use the functions which are present inside that class. So for that purpose I am creating object using this statement. So obj is the object name is equal to class name and provided by empty bracket. So empty brackets means we are using a default constructor here. So the PowerCal class object will be created here with the name obj, and using this obj we can call the functions which are present inside this class. And currently we have only one function, so we will call it inside our print statements. So next we have to accept number from the users. So for that purpose I am entering num1 as a variable is equal to int input, enter a number. So this message will be displayed and the number will be taken into this num1 variable in integer format. Similarly I am using one more variable, pw is equal to int input, enter the power. So again the power entered by the user will be taken into this pw variable. Now we have both the number value and power value. So now we have to calculate the power using this function. So for that purpose I am directly printing the result here. So using print statement, printing result is, and after that I am putting comma and writing obj, which is our object name that we have created, dot function name. So inside our class definition we have created function with the name power. So that's why obj dot power, and in the parameter bracket we have to pass number and power value. So I am passing num1 accepted from the user and pw value which is also accepted from the user. So this is how this function will run here at this statement, and as our function is returning result value, so the final result will be displayed at this statement. So directly the result will be displayed here after calculating this for loop. So this is how the power will be displayed here as a result, and our program is completed here. So this is how we are providing number and power to the program, and using that program or the class and its function we are calculating the number to the power and we are printing that value. So the coding is complete here. I am just saving the code. To run the program we have to go to the location where my file is. So this is the location where my file is. So first I am opening cmd here, then the command is py space file name, in my case PowerCal is the file name and .py is the extension. So after entering, it is asking me to enter a number, so I am entering a number as 3. Then it is asking me to enter a power, so I am entering power as 5. So the result is generated as result is 243, which is the correct answer. If you calculate 3 raised to 5, it will generate 243. So this is how we have generated our class. Inside that class we have created our own function to calculate power of the number, and in that function we have provided our proper logic, and we have created one object of that function outside the class definition. Then using that object we have called a function which is defined inside our class using proper parameters. So this is how we have completed this first question here. Now moving toward the second question, write a Python class to reverse a string word by word. So what we have to do here, we have to accept a string from the user and we have to reverse that string, but we have to keep the words as it is. We just have to reverse the words of the string. So that is called reverse a string word by word. So for that purpose we are going to use again the concept of classes and objects. So we are going to create our own class, and in that own class we are going to create a function that will be performing this reversing operation. So moving toward the code directly. So initially I have to create my class as using keyword class. So class space class name, that is rev string. So this is my class name, and I am putting colon after that. That means I am starting the class definition, or I am moving inside the class now. So in that class I am defining one function as def, then rev. So this is the function name, and as I have said in earlier question that always we have to put self as the first parameter in every class function. So rev, in that function bracket I am putting self as the first parameter and second parameter the s. So this is the string that is accepted from the user that will be taken as input for this function. Next I am taking words is equal to s dot split and putting a round bracket here. So what is this function? So this split function will split all the words from this string, and that words will be stored as a list. So on the left side the words is the list. So all the words from this string will be taken, and those words will be stored as a list into this variable. So words is my list variable. So all the words are stored into this list. Now I am taking one more variable as res is equal to empty string. So this will be my reverse. So for that purpose I am taking it as empty string. Then after that I am putting for word in reversed words. So what is this function meaning? I am taking words list and I am using reverse function here. So what it will do? It will reverse the entire list, and those words will be stored into this word variable inside this for loop one by one while iterating. So this is how all the words from the list will be taken, but those will be taken in the reverse way. That means the last word will be taken for first iteration, then second last word will be taken for second iteration, and so on it will continue. So this is how the word is storing the last word now for first iteration. Then I am using res plus is equal to word plus space. So this is the empty space, and before that I am attaching word to this res variable. So that means my string will be calculated as the words, and all the words will be attached one after another using this statement. So the entire statement is attaching all the words, but they are attaching in the reverse manner. So that's why all the words will be stored into this res variable, but they will be in the reverse way. So finally the res is done, and now I am moving out of the for loop and printing res. So this res is storing the entire string, but the words are reversed now. So the output is printed here, and the function is complete, and also the class is also completed here. So now moving toward the main part of the program. So in that main part what I am doing, I am creating one object as obj is equal to rev string. So this is the class name. So I am creating one object of this class, and after that I am using str is equal to input enter a string. So the string will entered by the user, and that will be accepted into this str1 variable. Then after that I am using obj.rev, and in the parameter bracket I am passing the string accepted from the user. So at this statement this rev function will run, which is inside the class, but we are calling it using the object name. So that's why the function will run here, and as a parameter we are passing the inputted string from the user. So the entire operation will be performed here of reversing the words, and finally we are printing the output here. So that's why we don't need print statement here. So automatically this function is printing the output here. So we can see the words which are in the reversed way. So the coding is complete here. So I am saving the code, then moving toward the location where my program is. So I am opening CMD here. So if you have PyCharm installed inside your system, you don't have to follow this step. You just have to type this entire code inside your PyCharm using a new file, and you just have to press the run button which is present on the top. So that programs we have already seen in the initial practicals, but now I am directly using CMD here. So moving toward the CMD, then typing a command as py space rev.py. So after entering, it is asking me to enter a string. So I am entering welcome to classes and objects. So after entering, you can see the string is reversed here, but the words are same. The characters are not reversed here, only words are reversed here. So the objects and classes to welcome. So if you see, welcome to classes and objects is converted to objects and classes to welcome. So you can see the words are as it is, just their order is reversed. So this is how we have created our program. We have created our own class. In that class we have created our own function, and using that function we have reversed the words inside the string, but we have not reversed characters. We have just reversed the words only. So this is how this question is ended here. Now moving toward the third question, write a Python class to convert an integer to a Roman numeral. So what we have to do here, we have to create our own class, and in that own class what we have to create one function, and that function will be taking one number as an input from the user, and that number or the integer value will be converted to Roman string. So Roman numeral means that will be converted as a string representing that number in the Roman format. So this is how the program will be. So directly moving toward the coding part. So initially we have to design our own class. So I am defining class as a class space integer to Roman. So this is my class name. Then after putting colon, so I am moving inside the class now. Then I am defining a function as def print Roman. So this is my function name, and the first parameter is a self parameter we have said earlier in the program. Then second parameter is the number. This number is the actual input to this function which is accepted from the user. Then I am using a list here. So I am creating two lists here. So as we are going to convert these integer values to the Roman strings, for that purpose we have to specify each string or the each representing symbol of each integer here. So for that purpose I am creating one list as a num, and in that list I am storing all the numbers which are used as a Roman numbers or which are taken as a Roman number starting string. Next I am using sim, that is symbol, as a second list, and in that list what I am storing, I am storing all the symbols which are associated with those numbers in the integer format. So this is how the I will be representing 1 inside our decimal system, and in the Roman system we are using I here. Then similarly 4 is represented by IV, then 5 is represented by V, and so on till the 1000 number we have created all the symbols. So the 1000 is represented by M inside Roman system. So this is how the list is created. The first list is representing all the integer values, and the second list is representing all the symbols which are taken inside Roman system. Next I am taking I is equal to 12 because the list is having size as a 12. So initially I am starting from this 1000 value or the last value. So that's why I am taking I as a 12. So next I am taking while loop here. So while number, so this is the number taken from the user, and in that while loop I am dividing or taking one variable as divisor is equal to number integer division. So whenever we are doing integer division in Python we are using double forward slash. Then after that I am putting num of I. So that means the last value from this list will be taken, which is 1000, and the number is divided by that value, and the integer division will be stored into this div variable. So this is how the division is stored here. Next I am reducing my number using number mod is equal to num I. So what it will do, it will calculate the remainder of this number, and the divisor will be taken as 1000 because I is 12 currently. So that's why the number will be divided by this 1000 value, and the remainder will be stored as a original number again. So again I am using one more while loop. So it is a nested loop now. So while divisor or div, in that I am printing sim I. So what it will do, it will print the symbol associated with this number, and it will be printed again and again till the loop is continuing. So while divisor print symbol and attaching endl, so there will be, so the next output will be printed after this symbol of I. So finally I am reducing this divisor value by 1. So this is how the decrement will happen here, and finally the while loop will end after all the values are decremented. So this is how the second while loop is printing the symbol associated with this divisor or div number. And finally I am moving out of this inner loop and I am reducing the value of I. So I will become 11 now. So it will be associated with 900 now. So this is how this loop will be printing the actual symbols associated with Roman number. So the explanation of this loop we'll see on the board. So next I'm using obj is equal to integer to Roman. So this is just creation of one object of this class, that is integer to Roman class. Then I'm accepting a number from the user as an input and converting it into integer and storing into number variable. Then I'm printing a simple statement, that is Roman equivalent of number is, then after that attaching end is equal to. So I'm just putting the next output after this statement, and I'm using this statement, that is obj.print Roman, and passing accepted number into this parameter. So the function will run here and it will print the equivalent Roman number using these two loops, and finally the output will be displayed at this location. So this is how the coding will be done. So to check the output, what we have to do, we have to run a simulation here, or we have to take one number and we have to check these while loops. So for that purpose I am moving toward the board now. So initially I am taking number as 4, 3, 2, 1. So this is my number accepted from the user. So our first statement is while number. So this loop will be repeated number of times, and our number is 4321. So 4321 will be our number. So in that while loop, what I am calculating the division here. So div is equal to number integer division num of I. So our I is initially 12, so that means at this location we will be having 1000 as a value. So our number will be divided by 1000 and integer division will be stored into this divisor. So initially our div will be calculated as 4321 integer division 1000. So obviously the answer is 4 here. So my div value becomes 4 here, and the next statement is number mod is equal to num of I. So here we have 1000 as a value, so number will be divided by 1000 and the remainder will be calculated. So the remainder will be remaining as 321. So our original number will be changed here and it will become only 321. So this is how we have separated 4 digit or the first digit from the number, and it is stored into div variable. Now let us see the nested second loop. So while div, so it will be repeated div times. So in our case this number will be repeated 4 times. So in the second loop it will be repeated while div. So it will be repeated 4 times because our div is calculated as 4. So in that loop what we are printing, we are just printing the number associated with the symbol. So we are printing 4 times m value. So m will be repeated 4 times. So if you see inside our while loop, we are printing the symbol associated with I. So I variable is having 12 value. So in symbol the 12th location is of m digit or m letter. So m will be repeated 4 times here and that will be printed, and finally the loop will be ended. So this is how we have printed 4 times m using this first iteration of the while loop, and at the last we are reducing the I value by -1. So that means we are decrementing I value. Now we will go to the 11th location now, because initially our I value is 12. So on the next iteration we will have I value as 11. So again this loop will be repeated, and this time this 3 number will be separated here. So on the second iteration, so this is my first iteration. So in the next iteration number will become 321 only, and our div value will be calculated as 321 integer division. And if you see the number of 11 or the second last location is 900 value, so that's why it will be divided by 900, and if it is divided by 900 there is no integer division, so integer division will be 0. So again we will move to the next I value. So again we will go to this 500 value. So again for the third iteration div will be calculated as 321 divided by 500. So again division is not possible. We will move to the next iteration. So we will go to 400. So again div will be calculated as 321 divided by 400. again integer division is not possible here. The answer is 0. So again we will move to the next iteration. So we are at 5th iteration now. So div will be calculated as 321 integer division of 100. So after 400 there is a 100 value. So we will move to the 100th location. So again div will be calculated here and it is calculated as 3. So again we will move to the second nested while loop, and in that while loop 100 value will be printed 3 times. So if you see, so the 100 value is associated with C letter, so C will be printed 3 times here, so that becomes 300. Similarly we will calculate the 21 using this loop statement. So this is how the calculation will be done, and the respective letters will be printed using this second while loop, and those letters will be printed one after another because we are attaching end is equal to empty string here. So this is how the entire number that we have provided will be converted into Roman format, and that Roman format characters will be printed one after another as an output. So this is how the coding is complete. So to run the program, we have to go to the location where my program is. So this is the location. I am opening CMD here, and after that the command is py space roman.py. So I am entering a number as 4321, and after entering you can see the Roman equivalent of number is printed as M is repeated 4 times, that means 4000, then C is repeated 3 times, that becomes 300, then X is repeated 2 times, that means 20, and I is only 1 time, that means 1. So 4321 number is properly generated here. So this is how we have created our own class. In that class we have created our own function to calculate Roman number from given integer value, and we have successfully calculated it using while loop and their respective logic. So this is how this question is ended here. Now the fourth question is write a Python class that has 2 methods, get string and print string. Get string accept a string from the user, and print string prints the string in uppercase. So we have to create again one class. In that class we have to create 2 methods as explained in the question, and these method names are already given. So we have to specify the methods with the same name, and one method is accepting the string from the user, and second method is printing the string, but it is printing in the uppercase. So all the letters from the first string or the accepted string will be converted to uppercase, and that will be printed. So this is how the code will be. So directly moving toward the code now. So initially I am creating my own class as a class string manipulator. So this is the class name. Then after that colon, I am starting the definition of the class. In that class I am defining one function as def get string. So this is the function name as given in the question. Then in the parameter bracket we have to pass compulsory first parameter as self, and I am not specifying any another parameter because we are directly accepting the string inside this function only. So that's why it is not taken from the parameter bracket. So inside the function definition I am using self.userString. So what is the meaning of this statement? Self.userString means this is the variable that is inside the class, and that is represented using a self keyword. So why it is written as self.userString? Because in Java programming and C programming or C++ programming, whenever we create classes, we have a provision to create variables inside the class. But in Python, we are not creating any variable here because the declaration of variable is not allowed in the class definition. So that's why whenever we are using the variable, we have to include self.variable name directly. So this is how we are using user string as a variable using this self keyword. Then after that I am putting equal to input enter a string. So this message will be displayed, and that will be accepted as an input and stored into this user string variable. So this is a class variable now. Next, the function definition is complete. Then I am defining second function as given in the question. So def print underscore string. So this is the second function. Again I am not putting any parameter here, so that's why we have to put self only. Then I am using print statement, print self.userString. So this is the variable of the class, and dot upper. So this is the function of the string, and that will be converting all the characters from this string into uppercase letters. So all the characters which we have entered inside this string will be converted into uppercase letters, and those characters will be printed here using this print statement. So this is how both the functions are complete here. Then I'm moving out of the class. Then I'm creating one object as obj is equal to class name. So string manipulator is the class name and empty brackets. Then after that I'm calling the first function as obj.getString. So automatically this coding will run here. It will accept the string from the user and it will be stored into this class variable. Then after that I'm using second function as obj.printString. So this statement will run and it will print the entire string, but the letters will be converted to uppercase letters. So this is how the printing will be done here and the output will be completed. So to run the program, again I'm going to the location, then opening CMD, then my command is py space string.py. So it is asking me to enter string, so I am entering ABCD, EQRS, all the letters in the small letters. Then after entering, you can see all the letters are converted to uppercase letters and printed as it is. So this is how we have converted our original string to uppercase letters and printed it using upper function that we have used inside our program. So using this upper function, we can convert any characters to uppercase letters. So this is how the output is complete here, and this question is ended. Now the fifth question is write a Python class named rectangle constructed from length and width and a method that will compute the area of a rectangle. So we have to create our own class. The name is given as a rectangle. Then we have to use a constructor here. So we will see how to create constructor inside our coding. Then in that class we have to use two variables, that is length and width. So this is the length of the rectangle and width of the rectangle. Then we have to create one function that will be computing the area of the rectangle. So we have to create our own function that will be calculating area of that rectangle. So this is how the program structure will be, and here we are going to use a constructor concept here. So now directly moving toward the code. So initially, as we have given in the question, we have to create our own class and a name as a rectangle. So I am defining class space rectangle, then after that putting colon. So I am moving inside the class now. So after that I am defining a constructor here. So what is constructor? Constructor is used to initialize an object of the class. So whenever we are creating any object of the class, it will call a constructor that we have defined inside our class, and it is used to initialize the object. That means it is used to initialize the values of the variables that we are creating inside our object. So this is how constructor is called whenever we are creating any object of the class. So how to define a constructor? We have to use def keyword. It is also a member function, but it is a special one which is used to initialize the class object or class object variables. So def is the keyword for defining. Then after that we have to put a space, and after that we have to put double underscore, then init, again double underscore. So this is the init function, and it is also called as constructor. So it is used to construct the object of the class. So as I have seen in the previous question, that whenever we are defining any function, the first parameter is always self parameter, then second parameter I am taking as a length, then third parameter I am taking as a width. So these are the parameters which are passed as an argument inside our function or the constructor. So whenever we create any object of this rectangle class, we have to pass two parameters here as a length and width. So those values will be taken inside this class variables. Next, inside this function definition, what I am doing, self.length is equal to length. That means we are copying the length value which we have accepted from this function parameter into the length variable of this class. So it is represented by self.length. Similarly, self.width is equal to width. That means we are accepting width as a parameter and copying that value into self.width. So we are accepting the value inside this class variable which is width, and it is represented by self.width. So this is how we have constructed the object or we have initialized the variables of this class object. So the constructor definition is complete. Next I am defining the function which is given in the question to calculate the area of the rectangle. So for that purpose I am using def, then function name as compute area, and I am not passing any parameter here, so that's why it will be having self only. Then inside function definition I am using return statement as self.length into self.width. So the length and width values from this rectangle class variable will be multiplied and that value will be returned as a multiplication answer, and that is also our area of the rectangle. So finally the area is returned here. So I am moving out of the function and closing the class here. Next I am using L as a variable, which is a variable inside program. So L is equal to int input enter length of the rectangle. So user will enter a length value that will be accepted into integer format and stored into L variable. Similarly, W is equal to int input enter width of the rectangle. So width will be accepted and stored into W variable. Then I am creating object now. So obj is equal to rectangle. Now this time I am not putting this bracket as empty bracket because we have created a constructor here, and the constructor is having two parameters which are length and width. So that's why we have to pass two values associated with length and width. So in our program we have accepted length and width into L and W. So that's why L and W are passed here. So this L and W value will be copied into length and width of this rectangle class variable. So now the length and width is accepted, which is initialized as an object which is having the inserted L and W value. So finally I'm using one variable as area is equal to obj.compute area. So this is the calling of compute area function, and it is not having any parameters, so that's why the bracket is empty, and it will automatically calculate the multiplication of length and width value, and that multiplication will be returned, which is stored into this area variable. So this is how we have got our area inside this area variable. So finally I'm just printing the output. So print statement, then the area of the rectangle is, so this is the message, and after that I am attaching area variable value. So this is how the area will be displayed here. So the coding is complete here, which is just calculating the area of the rectangle. So what we have seen inside this program, we have created a constructor here, and using that constructor we have accepted the values from the user. We are not taking any additional function to accept the values of length and width, so we are directly using constructor here. So the area is calculated. Next I am saving the code. So to run the code I am going to the location and opening CMD here. The command is py space rec.py. So the first, it is asking me to enter the length of the rectangle, so I am entering 50. Then it is asking me to enter width, so I am entering 20. So finally the area of the rectangle is 1000. So the multiplication of 50 and 20 is performed inside our calculate area function or compute area function, and that multiplication is displayed here as an output inside our area variable. So this is how we have calculated the area of the rectangle using constructor and one function. So this is how this question is complete, and also practical number 20 is complete. So what we have seen inside this practical, we have seen how to create a user defined class. So we have created our own class definition, then we have created functions inside the class, then after that we have accessed that class using one object or many objects. So we have created objects of that class using the statement, then we have used the functions inside that class using the object name. So this is how we have understood the concept of object oriented programming, which is the base concept, that is classes and objects inside Python programming. And this practical number 20 is ended here. So that's it for today's practical. I hope you understand the program clearly. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more such programming solutions, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. If you have any doubts or need solutions for other programs, drop a comment below. I will be happy to help. Thanks for watching and happy coding.